It's Frank Calderon from the Miami-Dade Solid Waste Department. Thank you for being here, Frank.
Thanks for having me, Michael.
I do want to thank University Credit Union for all your help, and they're a really great organization. You can look them up, and they'll be able to help you out. So here we are, the second week of
Yes.
January. The holiday trash is all picked up and gone.
Yes.
Next thing,
Christmas tree recycling.
yes. What do we do?
All right. I don't have the dates on the top of my head here, but there's, bringing it into the TRCs. Not all of them accept them. I don't know what's the last day they'll do it for recycling. And also the Westside Chemical Collection Center, they'll take the trees there as well until the last day that they accept them for recycling. But we do also are going to be picking up the trees during this month. We had 2 dates. Again, I don't know off the top of my head. Visit our website, miami-dade.gov/solid waste, or call 311 for the specific dates.
And so the county services approximately how many homes?
With solid waste, about 340, 350,000 homes.
If I was to say, could there be 100,000 trees out there?
Oh, easily. I'm pretty sure the number's even bigger than that.
So we don't want those people cutting up their trees and putting it into the green dumps,
or the green,
can.
or much less the blue. But either one, do not put in the car.
Don't put it in there.
No, if you can't do anything else, just leave it at the curbside. We have 2 dates. It's gonna be more than 2 dates, but we have 2 dates that we list and they're on our website, or you can call 311 as far as like putting them out. I don't think we've hit any of them yet. By which you have to have it out to be sure that we're going to pick it up. But there's still a little bit of time.
So, and people have a higher awareness about recycling and how that helps and how people can contribute to that process of recycling. So tell us about some of the programs that the recycling for the county does and why it's important for us.
Well, we do different types of recycling, but the one that most people, especially our customers, are the most familiar with is the Curbside recycling program with the blue cart. And that's where we have basically the simple 5, as we call it, 5 different types of items that we accept in the program. And let me see if I remember them off the top of my head. My memory this year already, 2023, my memory's poof. Paper, cardboard, cartons, bottles, which include plastic bottles and glass bottles. I was going to say glass. I just said plastic bottles and glass bottles. And the last item I can think of is cans, like food cans and beverage soda cans.
But for sure, we don't want people taking those plastic bags and putting them into the recycling.
No plastic bags.
Because it gets tied up, so to speak, with
literally,
the machinery. Right?
Literally.
And those things are really strong. Think about
Yeah.
how the husband goes home and he's got his hands, through both the over here.
500
He's got 3 bags over here and 2,
yeah.
and they're just hanging, and it's pretty awesome to be able to. I did it on one trip. Susan.
There's a funny meme online about that if you don't make it in one trip, you're not a real man. So those bags, and maybe one bag, but it's that there's so many of them that they just wrap up around the machinery and shut everything down.
And so, and for people to test it to see how strong it is, roll them up. I mean, this way, and then tie them up in a knot, right? I mean, at the ends, and do 4 or 5 of them together, and see if you could
probably do a prison breakout with tying up
what
those
an
bags
idea.
together.
We'll call.
I shouldn't have said that. Oh my gosh, I'm in trouble for that.
All right. So, and maybe one day there'll be another option, for people, for the stores and the businesses. All right. Again, as I told you before, when I go to the local drugstore, if I have 2 items, I said, "No." They said, "Would you like to receipt?" No, I said, "I just got one from my credit card, so I'm good there." All right. And I say, "No, I don't want the bag." So at some point, that stuff does back up. I don't know when that would be, to where there's less plastic bags being used. So right now, in the plastic bags, after you use them, whatever you can around your house, all right, dogs, cats, garbage, whatever. And there's some comedy routines. I've been watching them about what to do with those. People should take those and put them into the green cans.
Plastic bags, they should go in the green can, yes.
So,
or the green cart.
Right. So do you know approximately how many trucks are out there right now picking up garbage, more or less?
Our fleet is about 100 plus. I don't know how big the plus is. But
100
they are
plus
picking
of garbage trucks.
Yes, they are picking up garbage today.
That is amazing. And so And they're at nighttime. They're in different locations throughout the county.
Yeah, well, they're parked in different places. Yeah,
Yes.
they don't pick up garbage at night, but yes, they are. By the way, let me take this opportunity really quick to remind people, Christmas Day was the day after, which confused people because Christmas fell on a Sunday. So the holiday was taken the day after, which was a Monday. So there's no garbage picked up. There's not going to be garbage picked up next Monday either because it's the one of the 3 holidays: Christmas Day, July 4th, and Martin Luther King Day. And that's coming next Monday. So there will not be garbage pickup.
So
if that's your day.
Christmas.
Christmas Day, Martin Luther King Jr. Day, which is
July
the
4th.
third Monday in January, and July 4th, whatever day that may fall. If it falls on a weekend, then we have to go into the whole explaining of which day is the day that they take. But yeah, this Monday there will be no garbage. But if you have recycling that day, yes, it will be picked up.
So somebody called me up and said, Michael, I saw the garbage truck going down the street, and I went back 20 minutes later, and he was gone. They were still on my side of the street cans. Why does that happen? People want to know.
Just the route, just the way that they turn. It's more efficient sometimes, and I don't know all about the route planning, but it's more efficient sometimes to just keep them from not having to do a lot of left turns, to just stay out the right, and keep doing that until you have a chance to get back. So you may see one side of the street gets picked up, but not the other. End of the day, if you see that one side of the street wasn't picked up, one of the people there should call and report it, though.
And when
For sure.
On these routes, do the guys know when? Do they if their truck is full,
Mhm.
all right, for whatever reason, because there was more trash being, they would stop wherever they are and then go out and unload it, then go back to where they left off.
Yes.
And more or less, how many stops does each driver go to a day?
Approximately 1,100. Approximately 1,100 houses that they pick up from.
That's amazing.
And about halfway through, they typically do have to go dump and come back out.
1,100 homes a day.
Yes. Each driver.
That is amazing.
And that's on average, yeah.
And do they work 4-day weeks or
They work 4-day weeks. Monday, Tuesday, they have Wednesday off and the weekends off.
so in a 10-hour day, they're picking up 1,000 of those guys?
Yes.
That is amazing.
1,000 plus.
That is amazing. Start, stop, start, stop, start,
Yep.
stop. I'm getting nauseous thinking about it. So, and occasionally the county's looking for drivers.
Yes,
So-
I don't know if it's advertised now at the moment, but from time to time they do. Miamidade.gov/jobs is the place to go. Any job, not just drivers, and not just for our department. Other departments need drivers. I know transit, they've got Transit's even paying bonuses. I don't know if our department is at that stage yet. I can tell you the last time I checked the salary for the waste truck drivers, you do have to have a CDL, but the last time I checked the salary, it's borderline 40,000 a year.
So, and it's a commercial driver's license.
Commercial driver's license.
And but when people go to apply for that job, they have to be comfortable enough to drive those big trucks. All right.
Yes.
All right.
They'll teach you how to the specifics on the garbage trucks and how we do it. So you don't have, as long as you have the CDL and you have some experience driving trucks, you can apply.
So I have an F-150. Nice one. So my wife says, start using that camera when you're backing up. I said, okay. So I come out of the house and I see her car, right? I see her car when I walk out. I get in the truck. I got the camera. I'm looking. I go, I must have run over a cat, right? No, I ran right into her car, right?
Even with the camera?
Yeah, I'd never used them before, right?
Oh.
So anyway, I started using it when I'm on the streets, when I'm parking on the side, learning to back up with the camera, and I'm getting better at it. But the other day, I went into the city of South Miami, God bless them, and I pull up, and I go to pay the parking meter. It's gone. I go, oh, I'll go to the one that, what happened to that one?
Paid by phone
Yeah.
with an app.
So I had never done it before. I had an appointment, so I scribble out this note. Please, what happened to the pay station? He didn't give me the
Yeah,
ticket.
because that's right. They went from the coin meters to the pay stations, and now it's well,
Yeah, you gotta.
some of them let you use the app, but you can also call the 1-800 number. Some of them,
So I'm
so you don't
standing
need to
there.
have
I'm
the app
gone.
necessarily.
I finally got the app in, but not. Anyway, so the point is that we have all these new things that are happening, and people shouldn't get frustrated. Just figure out how to go to the next step. Needs them putting on the app. Don't come to me. Go to somebody else. Right. So lots of times people have their carts for years and they get old, and sometimes people run into them, crazy F-150 drivers, and they're cracked to the wheels. What should people do?
If the cart is damaged, and also if it's stolen, well, if it's stolen, you have to take an extra step. If it's stolen, you should call your local police department non-emergency number. Don't call 911, please, to report a missing cart that's been stolen.
What is the number?
The non-emergency number depends on where you live, what jurisdiction you live in. Some cities have their own. Even the ones that contract out with Miami-Dade Police Department might have their own local number to call. But call the police non-emergency number. Look it up, please. If it's a stolen cart, to report it. Once you have the stolen cart or the police report number, then you can call in to 311 to report that your cart was stolen. If your cart is damaged, you don't need a police report. If it's just damaged, call in to 311 also, and tell them that your cart was damaged, and they will send a crew out to, in the case of a stolen cart, replace it completely. In the case of a damaged cart, either repair or replace, depending on the
They go
situation.
online at miamidade.gov/solid waste.
You can for information there, but basically you have to call them 311.
Okay.
Or you can use the our app, the Miami MDC Solid Waste app, which is available on Android and the Apple Store.
So,
well.
and the county has a policy where you can get 2 25-yard pickup trucks a year. So this is January. Some people might think it's the last 12 months, but it's really a calendar year.
Yes.
So for those people that have been saving up, all right, this is
Yeah.
a good time. You can go out there, you call in, or you go to online. You can order it, all right? It shows a picture of a house and where it's going to stay. How long ahead of time before they put the trash out on out on the swale?
Well, now it used to be in the old days, in the olden times,
When
more
we
than
were
a little bit more
young
than a
and
year
silly?
ago. Yeah, that you would call, and then it would be an 8 to 10 day time period. Now it's by appointment. So now whenever there's an appointment available, and it's not a specific time appointment; it's a day. So whatever they have during the day, you can actually look it up, or if you call online, if you go online, or call 311, and they'll tell you what available appointment dates are. You can place the waste out 3 days before your appointment date. And one thing to note also, it's right now we're in January and nobody wants to even talk or think about this. I know the hurricane season. If you know you have stuff that you think, like a tree that's got a branch that looks kind of weak, for example, and you're worried that it might cause damage during a hurricane, now is the time to do it. Way before hurricane season, just get it done out of the way, because when hurricane season comes, everybody wants to do it, and then it's harder to get.
I'm glad you brought up about the tree. Across the street from the office, if you look over there, there's a tree that's been there for 50 years. I'm acutely aware it's been there for 50 years. The base is about this big.
Wow.
Son of a gun. It rotten and fell on the street, all right?
Yikes.
Fortunately, it only hit one car. All right, we were having a party. We hear this gigantic. We go out there, and it just fell right over.
So it wasn't even a storm. It wasn't even a hurricane. It was maybe just a
right,
regular
and that's the
storm.
point. People need to go look at their trees and see.
Yeah.
And it's bad enough when there's a storm, but people need to look at their trees. Say all these limbs are rotten, and they're going to fall off anyway. Much less if a wind.
If it's trees or anything that you might have, if you know that you got to get rid of stuff, it's best to do it before hurricane season. We have between now and May. Hurricane season starts, I think, June 1st. Sometimes we have early season hurricanes.
Didn't we just get over that?
That's what I'm saying. Nobody wants to think or talk about it, but now is the time, actually. We don't, on the one hand, we don't want to encourage everybody in January to all of a sudden all go and do it, because then the system gets bogged down a little bit. But between now and May is a good time to think about it and do it before the hurricane, because hurricane starts bearing down. Everybody wants to do it then, and then there's no appointments available until way after the hurricane.
And so at the time when they call the county, they can go through their household stuff. They can go in the backyard.
Yes.
They can find their old refrigerators, taking the doors off. They can do
Yes.
all that stuff and put it out there. 25 yards for a regular household, that's a bunch. That's a lot of stuff. If you've got a big yard, that's different. And again, we had a fellow working in our yard, and what he did, he laid down this old tarp on the ground with rope on it. He put all this stuff on there, and he pulled it out front. Me, I would have been with wheelbarrows. I go, look at that, all right?
Smart.
Whoops.
Well, that's experience for you.
Yeah, so exactly. They went the batteries and everything. All right, so let's talk about lots of times animals get hit by cars, or sometimes there's people like Santeria, sometimes they'll leave
Yes.
the animals out there. Tell us about the policy concerning
Yes.
dead animals.
If it's out on the public right of way, you can call animal services. And I learned, you asked me that question several times. For the longest time, I'm like, oh, I'll find it out next time. I'll find it. And I never did. I did find it out finally. It is animal services. If it's on private property, the private property owner is responsible for, somehow it could probably be reported. I'm not sure. Call 311. And they can tell you if it can be reported as a code enforcement issue, a dead animal on private property, and the people won't take care of it.
So private property, we're not, private property for most people might include from their fence, if they have a fence,
Basically, inward, yes.
But if it's in that area, in the first 15 feet.
Sidewalk out to the swale or the street, that's public right
Okay.
away.
I'm not suggesting anybody kick it out to there, because you might ruin your shoes, all right? I'm sorry, that's a...
The yuck factor, I don't know, it's... Ugh.
And
I won't wear those shoes again.
And you never know on if you go to do something like that, what sort of decomposition is there, and so you might break it open. So if it's from the sidewalk out, you can call the county, say, listen, and
Animal
my
services,
suggestion,
yeah.
take a picture of it, all right, so you can have that. And what we do in where I live, we live in horse country where people like to leave junk all over. When we call, we call ahead of time, we put it out, I take a picture of it, because sometimes in the middle of the night, these guys come by
And they'll
with
dump
these
stuff
great
on
big U-Haul, not U-Haul, the other type of trucks, the landscaping truck,
Yeah.
and dump that stuff there.
That brings me to a point. If you do call for bulky waste and you have everything, dotted your I's, crossed your T's, set it out there 3 days before your appointment time, and then you find out that the pile suddenly grew overnight, call 311 immediately to report it, because that way you won't get dinged. It'll be reported as illegal dumping on your pile, but you won't get any repercussions for it.
So Miami-Dade County, this in 2022, moved up the length of time that it would give itself to pick up the garbage from 8 days down to 3 or 4.
It's an appointment now. If it's booked, you may not have an appointment for a couple of weeks, for example. But once appointment days are available, you
Yes.
pick that and you can set it out 3 days before.
Before it'd be the same thing. They'd say, here's the appointment, but we have 8 days.
But it's before they wouldn't give you a specific day. They only told you have 8. Put it out there, and it'll be picked up within 8 days.
So the county was able to narrow that down.
Yes.
Obviously, because the streets are a lot cleaner like that, and it's not.
And that was the purpose, is just to avoid. It's kind of unsightly to drive through a neighborhood and see all these piles sitting out there
If
for
there's
days.
one, you're sort of like, oh, okay, maybe
Yeah.
2. But on your street, if there's more than one, you could just go, oh my goodness, what is that? And it looked like there was a problem with the county, but it really wasn't, because now you've taken care of that, right? So schools back in session, for the rest of this year. Does the county have any plans to try to help bring to the school kids anything that the county's doing concerning solid waste?
We do typically go to schools to speak. When asked, sometimes we work with them and try to get people out there. Mostly what we'll do is we'll talk about recycling in the schools. We also have our mosquito control folks go out a lot to the schools. But besides that, a lot of it is the schools requesting career day speakers. So they'll have, and truck days. They'll have a career day where they offer, show the kids a different type of careers. And one of the popular requests is always the trucks. One of the garbage trucks out there. You'll see police also, and fire and all that, and their vehicles as well. But that's one of the biggest things that we'll do with schools.
And certainly the recycling is things that people can get attached to. And when we were younger, throwing stuff out the window was like, didn't give it much thought. But I remember I must have been 14 years old. Cop pulls us over on the back seat, driver's side. Cop pulls us over. Goes to my mother and says, "You threw trash out the window." She said, "I didn't." All eyes were on me. No, it wasn't. Yes, it was. I saw it come out the window. And so that was quite a long time ago. And that matters, all right, as far as making impact. So we know the county has a strict enforcement for dumping stuff on locations versus littering. You can get a ticket for that. But stopping your car or truck or throwing stuff out the window. And I know we've been over it before, but I want to remind people that the county has cameras in lots of locations, especially high dump locations.
Yes.
Right? So if they want to get caught, just go down there, and because you're going to get caught. Especially down where south or even in horse country where there's an area that's sort of hidden from half. And so people think they can get away with it.
It's
right?
not as hidden as they think it is,
Right.
thanks to what is hidden are the cameras. So these areas are not as hidden. You may think they're hidden, but they're not. And if you get caught, you can get a fine.
Because those cameras are
from,
they're little, maybe they're camouflage, all right?
yeah,
And they're pretty
yeah.
effective, all right?
Yes.
We have cameras throughout our building. We can see 300, we can see
And
200
you can see
feet
the
away.
alleyway.
What?
The alleyway in the back, the one you always tell
Yes.
me that wasn't paved, and now it's paved, and now it's it's a blessing and a curse.
Yes. So one of the things we did do, by the way, for the first time, is that we started locking the cans back there, and I think that that's a subtle message, all right. Rather than here's an open can, so the guy that was thinking he could do himself a favor, just put it into the dumpster, and if it was full, he would just throw it there and lean on the ground. So right now, because the county, I want to thank the CITT and the city of South Miami for spending a bunch of money redoing our alley. And right now, there hasn't been other than that one time that. But the point was that because we keep it clean, there's less likelihood that people are going to dump. If there's a lot of dump
that's true.
stuff, people are going to go do that.
They see some stuff is dumped. That's why we'll have signs that are put up, and that's why we have enforcement. They're not exclusively going to look at the hot spots, as we call them, but they do focus a little bit more effort on those.
So let's say down in Homestead, Redland area, horse country, if somebody sees a pile on the side of the road, they see it there, not out in front of somebody's house where you can see it was delivered, but dumped on the side of the road, people could call 311.
yes,
and
to report it. Yes,
That's a wonderful thing because it'd just be easier for everybody. And if an onlooker sees somebody dumping, what should they do?
if you see somebody dumping, do not go out there and tell them you need to stop them, because you don't know what these people are like. You don't know what they're going to do. You can call 911 because it is a crime in progress. If you see it after the fact, if you just see the dump materials but you don't see who did it, you can call 311, and they'll send one of our waste enforcement officers to go out to check it out.
And lots of times the bad guys forget there's clues in that dump pile that may lead back to somebody.
In addition to the hidden cameras, yeah, they'll sometimes find
Yeah, and
clues.
I think that's one. If we had a boat that was on the side of the road, not we, collectively we, maybe it was a 25-foot boat, maybe a 30-foot boat, and it was there for a while because the county has to go get a big trailer, whatever it is, 3 or 4 guys, I guess, maybe more, right? And to go down there and then to have to dispose of it. It gets costly for the county to go and do that.
Yes.
I mean, it's a lot of money, unnecessarily.
Yes.
So
Yes.
if people have old boats and stuff, what do they do with that?
They can take it to a landfill. I don't think that we take them at the TRCs. Maybe depends. That's a good question. I have to come back
We should
to
call
on
them-
that one.
we're gonna
and
call
get
the folks
back
in
to
Fort
those.
Myers.
They might accept a smaller, but don't quote me on it. That's something I'll ask. I'll have to ask and find out at the TRCs anyway. If they can take it, or bulky if it's a small enough. But for the most part, from my understanding, a boat should be taken. Remove any type of fluids like gasoline or motor oil, and they can be taken to the landfills and disposed of there.
So if you're
But
thinking
there
about,
is a charge for that.
yeah, okay. So if you're thinking about dumping stuff on the side of the road, think about your children and grandchildren watching you and the example that you're setting. All right, and even if they don't see it, in your heart that you've done that, and that sometimes the kids can.
And if you don't have grandchildren or children, or you don't care what example you said, think of the $250 fine or more you can get depending on how much you're dumping, and think of the possibility of even getting arrested
Boy,
because it's a crime.
can you imagine being in the jail and got to get bonded out?
Yeah.
What'd you do? Dump some-
Or being in jail, what'd you do? Oh, I killed my old lady. What'd you do? I dumped an old couch on the side of the road.
Yes, exactly. So let's talk about over at the plant over in Doral, right? When these trucks go over there and they put it onto the floor, it eventually makes its way into an incinerator. How many truckloads a day do you think get incinerated over there, more or less?
Ooh. I think it's about 4,000 or 5,000 tons, but then a day, if I'm not mistaken. They told me that. I just don't know how much that comes up to in terms of trucks.
It's just, and I'm just trying to break it down to where I can sort of manage that. But that's stuff that over there gets incinerated. It creates steam, creates electricity.
Yes.
And we know the county has an Operation 100% battery operated garbage truck.
Yes.
When do you see it often or not?
Not anymore because it's actually put into service. It services the Doral area, I believe.
So at night, he takes or she takes that truck over there to the factory. I mean, to the
Facility,
to the
resource
facility,
recovery facility.
and you plug it in.
Yes, the same garbage it picked up during the day. I mean, we don't know. I don't literally know if it's the same exact materials that it picked up during the day, but basically the garbage is picked up by our trucks and other trucks that bring waste there. It gets incinerated, creates electricity that powers that very truck. And the dream is eventually to have a whole fleet of trucks like that.
It's really amazing when we see the progress that the county's been making. I know it's a leader in that regard, and I'm so pleased that the county's taking better care of Biscayne Bay. Really important, and there will always be that struggle between developers and the Everglades and the county. It's hopefully that everybody can manage that. So, if somebody wants to find out what else the department's working on, they can go to your website.
Miamidade.gov/solid waste or call 311.
And our next big holiday, where you're not going to pick up garbage, is coming up
Next Monday.
Next
Monday.
Monday. And so whatever services other than recycling, it's not going to be picked up that next day.
Basically.
So do they go to the next regular pickup?
The next regular pickup, which will be Thursday, the following Thursday.
And if somebody needs more, another can, they can call and they can order the can?
Well, for recycling, it's pretty simple. They can call. There's a form they have to fill out and send it back in. For the garbage, there is a charge associated with because they're picking up extra garbage. So there is a charge, and it's an annual fee. It's in the neighborhood of 100 something. I don't know the exact amount. The information is available on our website, miamidade.gov/solid waste, or you can call 311.
So people can process it any way they want, which is I'm paying for my extra garbage to be picked up, or you're paying for the can, all right? So we have an extra can or two. And again, when people put that garbage can cart out to the street, the handle should be facing
toward the house.
All right, and so that means when the machine comes and picks it up, that which way does
the lid opens away from the house.
Yeah, and
actually away from the house, but actually towards the truck itself.
And so when people shouldn't be jamming that stuff in there because they got to bang it up against the truck. Right?
And most drivers they'll bang it a couple times, but if they do too much, it can damage the cart. So yeah, so.
And we got 2 minutes left, Frank. So paint and chemicals and all that, they can dispose of it at
our home chemical collection center. We have 2 of them. You can get the addresses on our website or 311, or you can check to see a local business will take those materials. Because I know it's not everybody can get to the sites, but those items should not be just placed in the garbage.
And the small propane tanks that so many people use
Same
for
thing,
their
do not put in the garbage.
Yep.
Those propane tanks up to the barbecue size or whatever, they can be brought to our home chemical collection center.
In the mindset of a lot of people, they think once they put it in the trash, that's the end of it. Like it gets consumed in a hole down there. That's not the case. So they take that and they put it out, and again, it's handled by machines and people, and then something ultimately happens to that. And again, it's not like dropping in a hole. So sometimes, again, people think, well, if I put it in there, that it's just gone forever. No, it goes through this whole cycle of trying to get the stuff that's done. So on our right here, we have a little bottle of water. Right, people can take those things. They can put it right into the
blue recycling cart.
We'll
take the bottles. That's the only type of plastic we'll take. Bottles, the water bottles, but also the dishwashing detergent and laundry detergent bottles can also be placed in the blue recycling cart.
A few years ago, maybe it was 10 at this point, people said, well, at least take the top off so when it goes into the landfills, it'll fill with dirt. That's still the case? But this all get for the most part
with the recycling. So yeah, you can have the cap on or off. It doesn't matter.
All right. So anyway, Frank Calderon, Miami-Dade Solid Waste Department. Thanks for being here, folks. Thank you for joining us again. If you have any questions, you can go to miamidade.gov/solid waste or just go on Google and you'll find it. It's going to be tremendous. And how long have you been with the county now?
Since 2000, so 22 years. 23. Well, in August, it'll be 23 years.
And congratulations on serving us
Thanks.
this time. Folks, again.